All right, guys, welcome back to another episode on the channel. Today we're going to be talking about something that is very important and a lot of us boaters are having issues with. Maybe it's a little bit of fiberglass damage or gel coat damage to the bottom of our boat. Specifically today we're talking about the keel. This could be from having an incident while you're trying to put it on the trailer. Maybe it's running up on a rock or some shells at the local sandbar and you're wanting to get the keel fixed because you got fiberglass exposed. It's not a structural issue, but it's cosmetic, and you definitely want to address the issue before it gets a little bit worse. So if you look down here on our boat, we've had a couple run-ins with the sandbar or the trailer. You can't retrieve your boat perfect every time, and as you guys know, our original and normal viewers on the channel, that's what we're here for, the boat ramp fails. But today we're talking about something that's so important: fixing the damage that you cause after a little accident out on the water. When I say running up on the sandbar, I don't mean running aground necessarily, but you come up to the sandbar and you're gonna power your boat up on the sandbar. You're sanding, literally sanding the gel coat off of the bottom of your keel. And over time, you're gonna have some areas like this that are exposed. So we definitely wanna fix that so we're not getting water intrusion or having a bigger problem down the road. So today we're going to go over that, and I'm going to show you just what to do to get back out on the water and take care of your fine vessel. We want to be all the way down to the raw fiberglass where it kind of it tapers up onto that gel coat. We want to have a very clean working surface. That way the bonding agent that we're using is going to adhere to your fiberglass and your gel coat. We don't want to have this flaking off or chipping off again. So we want to make sure we have a good mechanical bond onto the fiberglass here. So we got a orbital sander. You can use any kind of like little grinder or sander, or you can use, you know, a hand sander in a wooden block if you'd like. But I'm using specifically a orbital sander. This is just what I have that's cordless, easy to bring out here. 200 grit sandpaper, and I'm gonna go ahead and get to work.
Just want to apply flat, constant pressure on the surface that I'm actually sanding. I don't want any big gashes or divots in it, except for right here in this little pocket where we got a little fiberglass or gel coat chipping off of there. I want to make sure I get it really good so it's kind of tapered into the actual fiberglass.
All right, so you can see this surface right here is much larger than I actually thought it was. It goes much deeper, and it's actually into the fiberglass. Not structurally yet, but it's definitely working some of this fiberglass down. And we got to get this corrected as soon as possible. So when I'm sanding this, I don't want to just sand the area and into these edges right here. I want to make sure I'm going a couple inches outside of my working area. So I'm you know, almost sanding 2 to 3 inches outside of this area, and you can just kind of eyeball it. Some people tape it, but we're gonna get all this sanded, this whole area, because you want this to have a good bond, you know, just not just on this area, but as you're tapering it across there onto the edges, you want to have a good bond all the way around, or you don't want it to flake off as you're running through the water or running back up on the sandbar. So we're making sure we have a really good sanding job all the way through and through, all alongside our keel here. So we're almost done. Just got a few more rough spots that I got to work out. Acetone. You got to have acetone. This stuff right here is going to clean your working surface. This is an absolute must-have. I just got to figure out if I can open this. Golly. Folks, safety glasses are a real thing, and you should probably be wearing them when working with acetone. I got pretty fast reflexes, but that almost got in my eye. It did get in my eye, but we're gonna be all right. Wow, I literally like pulled the whole top. That was not supposed to happen. All right, so I got some acetone in my eyes. 10 out of 10, don't recommend. I just went and flushed them. We're good, back on with the project. I'm gonna get under here, got a rag with some acetone. We're gonna get us a good clean working surface here. I'm working on limited time right now. I don't want to make the video too long for one. I want to get right to the point. And then I got to go pick up my daughter from school as well. So, that's what we got happening. Getting her all cleaned up with the acetone. Just getting this really clean. All right, so this is a 3M product. This is a 3M unique vinyl ester formulation. It's a premium filler. It's a marine filler. And we're gonna go ahead and pop this open here if I can find out where my keys went. I got a little shark here. I got me a Mako on my key ring there. Oh, it's windy out here today. We're gonna get us a pretty good little chunk of this. I don't want to use too much right now because we are gonna apply a hardener, so we're gonna have, you know, just a few minutes to actually get this mixed up and be able to apply it. If you don't put the proper amount of hardener in there, it's gonna be tacky. You're never gonna get it solid. So the biggest step with fiberglass repair work, the biggest thing is your preparation. You don't want to skimp out at all on your prep. That's sanding and cleaning the surface off, making sure you have a good surface for this to adhere to. If you skip out on that, it's going to be chipping, flaking. You're not going to be happy. So do not skimp out on your prep time. That is number one rule. The next thing is you want to be able to have this really cure for the full time. I mean, we can put this on here and it says it cures in an hour. No, we're going to leave it. And we're just going to use a little bit of this hardener. This is basically like a MEK. It's a hardener cream. And we're just going to put some of this in here. A little strip like that's fine. We're just going to take our applicator knife, our putty knife, and we're just going to kind of mix this up. You want to make sure it's all mixed up properly, because if it's not, and it's, you know, clumpy and not really mixed in there good, you're going to have areas in your filler that are not going to cure, and that is not good. So you want to take a good minute and really mix all this in together, kind of just mash it and roll it in just like that. Now we are on borrowed time with this. I got it just about mixed up how I want. I'm still getting some chunks of blue in there, and you can see that, but it's almost where I want it. Now on this 3M filler, if you read the instructions, it says that you can sand it after, I think, 30 minutes or an hour. So that just tells us that you don't have a whole lot of time to get this mixed up and get on there before it starts setting up. I'm going to take my little mixing thing here, get that cleaned off, and we're going to start to go to work here in just a second. All right, I'm going to start in the back, and if you can imagine how much has been pulled off this keel, we're going to have to really stretch this out about a 1/4 inch or so. But down here in the back, it's not as destroyed. So we're going to start here. We'll start on that side. I'm going to kind of fill that hole right there, fill that void. Let's get a good layer on there of our filler. We're just going to kind of move up the keel with it. And you really want to make sure it's all up in the pocket, up in every gap. And so like on this job right here, we're going to have to do multiple coats more than likely to kind of build this up. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but you do want to have it on there the best you can. And I kind of go over it multiple directions to make sure it's really mashed in there good. And it's already starting to set up on us, so we really got to hurry on this. The temperature out here, the ambient temperature, and this wind is not helping. It's helping with the airflow, but it's not giving us a whole lot of time. Again, it ain't got to be perfect because we're going to sand over it. We just want to make sure every single square centimeter of this stuff is touching, and so it's going to adhere. So that big old chunk of gel coat that was missing right there, we just got it all filled in. And as I'm top dressing this, it's really starting to tack up. But your first layer is very, very important. I got a little bit left, and then I'm gonna have to mix up another batch. Not a big deal. When it starts looking like sandpaper and real rough, you gotta stop. It's already hardening. We're probably gonna wait an hour and a half to 2 hours just to make sure it's fully cured, not tacky at all. It's a lot easier to sand that way. Again, this first bond that we're putting on there is very, very important. We're gonna go ahead and get this all laid out right here, put a coat on here, and then we'll catch back up with you guys in about an hour and a half. It's good. That's good. That's way more than I had. All right, so we just did the top application here. When I say top, I mean forward, you know, on the bow spacing here on the keel. There was about 12 to 14 inches that we weren't able to complete with the batch that we mixed up. Again, I would rather mix 2 batches than have a bunch of waste, because that's like $100 for that. You know, I think that's a pint right there, a quart, whatever it is. It's 2 pounds, but it's small. It's very expensive. So again, we got a good smooth surface, or relatively smooth here. The next step is to come in here. We're going to let it harden. We want it to harden and cure properly. Then we're going to come in here with, you know, probably 200 grit sandpaper once again. We're going to knock all the rough spots down. Any kind of high rises, we're going to knock it down. We're going to kind of build it up one more time with one more coat. And then I think we should be pretty good at that point. All right, so you can see what we've sanded off here, and it's still, I mean, it's not perfect by any means, but if you take your hand along here and you rub, these are like some indentions. It's raised a little bit right in there where your lighter colors are, but where it's dark, like in there, there's still a gap. So we got to fill this big void here. These voids, we got to fill this out with our filler. And so this is basically the starboard side, sanded down. That gives you a quick view of what it's going to look like. And here's the port side, which we have not began to work on yet. So a lot of sanding needs to take place here. But once we get done with this, basically we're prepping our surface to help with, you know, our mechanical bond, as we said before. We'll get this all sanded down, and then we'll go in for another coat. And the next coat is the one that's really gonna start to dress this thing up. So got quite a bit of fill. You can see this, you know, drop off, that how it goes. It's like rolls down in here. Got quite a bit of fill that I got to put in there. So it may take a third coat, but we'll see. All right, so I just got the second coat on, and again, this is not a beauty contest, because your sandpaper is what's going to really dress this up at the end before you put your final finish on. So we just want to get this, you know, built back up to where we're not rubbing on pretty much straight up fiberglass. So this is a pretty significant repair job. I didn't realize it was as bad as it is, or I may have used a different product, but this should hold up just fine. We'll come back in here tomorrow morning. We're gonna let this cure overnight. So tomorrow morning we'll get the sanding on it and see if we need another application. If not, we'll start to work on the finish process of this. So we'll see how it turns out. All right, friends, day 2 project update here, repairing this keel. and we're gonna go ahead and dive right into it. You guys saw exactly what we did yesterday. We put on our first coat, we came back and sanded it, reapplied the acetone, getting us a really good clean working surface to get a good mechanical bond on the second coat. We put a second coat of the marine filler on there. Okay, when we put that second coat on there, it dried overnight. I just sanded it down, and you can see it looks really, really good so far. I'm gonna put one more coat on, and I think that's gonna get us right where I'd like to be. So I understand that this isn't a quick process, and it just takes time, but that's why fiberglass guys and people that do gel coat repair work, they do charge a lot. This is probably, I mean, honestly, this is probably a $800 to $1,400 job if you were to take your boat somewhere. So it's good to learn this information, watch these videos, basically practice this yourself. If it doesn't turn out good, grind it off and retry. So that's pretty much the name of the game. As long as you ain't got no fancy showboat that, you know, just has to be absolutely perfect, I definitely recommend you trying to save some money and learning how to do it on your own. You could be laying down work like this in no time. So, all right, let's dive back in, get to work. Day 3 of the project. Obviously, we haven't been working on it the entire time. It's been an hour here, an hour there, 20 minutes here, 30 minutes there. I got the proper PPE on. We're gonna crawl under here and check it out and get to sanding. I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like before we actually start reshaping the keel. So this is what we are left with. Got it applied pretty smooth down there, a little rougher up here, but not bad. We got a little bit of sanding to do, and then we're probably going to be done. You can go in and fill it even more, but I don't need a perfect finish. This boat's almost 20 years old. We fish hardcore offshore. It's not necessarily a show boat. It needs to be functional, it needs to be strong, and it needs to be done right. However, it doesn't have to be as slick as, you know, whatever. We got it pretty slick down here where we got a lot of the keel in the water. And as we get further up, I mean, if it has a few small bumps, not really worried about it. So without further ado, see if we can't get this sanded down and get a good finish on it before we put our gel coat on. All right, y'all. I just sanded down the 5th and final coat. Here comes my wife. She's on one again. Look at her. Let me guess. You want me to go inside and do some dishes? You want me to go inside and do some laundry? I don't even know what to do with her. But anyway, come take a look at this. When you really start sanding, you want to wear your PPE, your eye pro, your respirator, and things like that. I know, you know, in the first stages when we were just kind of knocking some stuff off, sanding it off, getting it prepped for the actual filler, we weren't using our PPE. We probably should have been, but now we are, so excuse me for that. All right, you want to take your rag, once you get it all sanded down, get you some acetone on there. I'm gonna climb up under here, and I'm just gonna wipe all this down. I'm getting all that dust off of here, and you can see what we've repaired. At least I hope you can tell the difference from the first part of this video to now. We've got it completely smooth. There's just a few spots in here with some very mild high spots and some very minor holes. I wouldn't even call them holes, I would just call them little nicks from the putty knife, I guess, pulling the filler over the holes. And we've really built this up. That's what you can see, multicolors. Some of it's not cured as much. Some of it's got more hardener in it than some of the other coats. So that is completely clean. If you go ahead and pass me the camera, Brentley, I'll go ahead and show them what I've got. This is what we are left with after all of that filler has gone in, after we have sanded, applied, sanded, applied, and you can see this beautiful, smooth repair job. And the next step is to put some gel coat on. So what I was actually saying earlier, and I don't know if this will be on the video, but this will be on the video. I just met up with Tyler from Cape Horn, and we were discussing this, and this hole has in fact been painted. Thanks for helping me out with the video, bro. You the man. The hole has been painted, and you can tell how it's scraping easily and flaking off. This paint is flaking off. So I talked to him, and he said, you need to prep this. You can see where I just sanded that down when I was repairing this little gash right here. All this is paint that I've just sanded off. You see that? That's paint. It's not a gel coat, that's paint. So it's likely that they didn't do the proper prep, and that's why this thing is flaking a little bit. That's why it's, what was the word that he used? Basically the paint's like shrinking or something. I don't know. I think that's what he said. Don't quote me on it. But if you ever have any questions, Tyler Caesar at Cape Horn is a plethora of knowledge, and he can get you squared away. So we're gonna go ahead and put some gel coat on that. We're gonna sand it down. Well, we've already sanded it down. We've cleaned it with acetone, and we're gonna put a coat of gel coat. We're probably gonna put 3 coats on there. Those little pinholes and like little divots you've seen, that will probably fill in with the gel coat, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. That's gonna be in a part 2 video. But for now, this is part 1 of a 2-part video, repairing your keel. And I think that we've done a great job. Again, all you need is, when you buy this, you can get this at your local, for one, you can get it on Amazon or any local marine shop or repair shop. We got it at West Marine. It comes with this basically hardening cream. This is just like a catalyst paste that you mix in there with it. You're gonna need some acetone, some 220 grit sandpaper, and a little bit of patience. And hopefully with this video, now you guys can figure out how to do this, and you can master this on your own. Now, this is no perfect job. I'm not a professional. This is a DIY project from me to you guys, trying to empower you to do this type of work on your own. You too can fix little gashes and dings and minor gel coat repairs just like this. That marine filler is pretty much like a Bondo. We just Bondoed that over, and the next step is to put on some gel coat. So see y'all in part 2. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, or if you have another tip that can help somebody out, or drop a comment in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe to all of our content here. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, where you can find all of our content: boat ramp fails, factory tours, sea trials, how-to videos, fishing content, all right here on The Big Dan Show. God bless you. We'll see you in the next video.